Yes, I do. I was quite involved in the pendulum. I was the one who pushed a lot for that development. And I'm an engineer at heart, and I love technological developments, and I am sure that, we say time never stops, but technology never stops either. So the development, mainly on the material side, is going to grow, and we're using now already new materials, and it's going to develop even much further in the next few years. So I don't think technology will stop in watch technology. Will start apply more and more. Modern materials will start apply more and more to watch technology. Certainly for the upper middle class and up, because the watch, I have fought my whole life to make watches more accurate, because people would complain during my years in the watch industry if they would miss the computer train on Friday because the watch was more than a minute off, right? And today, nobody complains about the accuracy of a watch. It's not you have to have the COSC certificates because it's a sales point, but nobody really checks. And we have no more complaints if the watch are not accurate, if they're off 4 or 5 seconds. So what? You're surrounded by time, by accurate time today with the computer and the laptop and the telephone. Sometimes you have to, oh yeah, I should adjust mine. Since you have several watches anyhow, you have to put them time each. So this is not the criteria, interesting enough, which in my life, business life, was a key criteria, no longer is a key criteria. So what does the watch today? As you know better than I, that it's an expression of the personality. It's the only male decoration, except ties and cufflinks, that can distinguish your status a little bit. And it's become a status symbol and expression of the personality. And that side will grow, I'm sure, because the upper middle class who can afford now our type of watches is also growing worldwide. I mean, every generation wants to make that their children are a little better than the next. And so this is, on a worldwide basis, that segment of the market is growing, right? So we're we have quite a wide spectrum of prices, one of the few brands who can start at 1,000 euros and finish at 7,000 or 8,000 euros. It allows a father to buy his son a Heuer, Tag Heuer watch, right, a Formula One. And we have a big brand followership. I was very amazed how many people are fascinated by the brand and like the brand, and therefore they want their son to have the same brand and the father, and things like that. So my answer to your question basically is no, it will not stop the development, and the accuracy is no longer the key criteria. It's the looks, the design, the expression of the technology that will make the decisions, right? And the brand loyalty is becoming a very key factor, yes. Jean-Christophe asked me to join as ambassador and honorary chairman. I think I transmitted the legacy of the brand to him, and I think the brand has made a big progress in the last 10 years to cherish the legacy and the past and the history, and to work in the direction of my family would have done. And therefore, I think they're doing it exactly the way I would like it to happen. And I don't have to tell Mr. Babin today anymore what I told him a few years ago, because he's done it and he's following exactly the way I would like it to happen. So I'm very pleased the way the current management is running the company and developing, keeping the innovative spirit up, pioneering in many areas like my ancestors did and like I did. So that side fulfills me with a lot of satisfaction, and I'm very happy to see that. It's a delicate question and a good question. I'm not sure. I know we have still not exploited all the possibilities of the inspiration of the 60s and the 70s, which were very, very creative years in the chronograph business. When it was actually the chronograph business started to pick up again once it was self-winding. Then the chronograph started to become popular again. And we had very creative years from 69 to 79. And we haven't used half of the models which could be recreated yet. So if the trend goes on, we can, on peut puiser, how do you say in English? We can we can dwell in the past. And I've made some suggestions of old models to recreate that are still being considered. So I think for the next few years we still have enough material. But in the future, I don't know. And we started this trend of the oldies in 1986 when they relaunched the Carrera for the first time. And then, of course, the Monaco in 1998, right? Yes, so a lot of people have copied the idea of taking the old models. A lot of people don't have the possibility because they don't have the history and the past. So it sets us a bit apart from some other brands who can't do what we're doing. So that's also good for the brand. I don't know how, I can't foresee. I know that we're planning one or two of the older ones I'm supporting two new developments still. So
there are still solutions.
There's still solutions for the next few years, yes. One world is the decoration part of a watch, and the other world is the need for very accurate timing. And we also follow that path, of course, starting with the 1/100th of a second wristwatch mechanical, but we have developed, as you may know, the 10,000th of a second now, a system with documented with supported by film. So the film arrivals documented by the 10,000ths we use in Indianapolis, for instance, is also a breakthrough because this is now perfected. We combine the film with the 10,000th of a second. So that's in our timing division, which we still have a timing division. We're working on those things, right? And so we're not stopping the development of the most accurate time because it's in the DNA of the brand also. If you think that, I'm still amazed about 1916 today when my grandfather invented the world's first instrument to measure 1/100th of a second. If you think back, the impact that had is unbelievable because it made suddenly a revolution in research, in science, in medicine, in sports. Suddenly you could measure something 20 times more accurate, from 1/5 to 100th. And my grandfather had a patent. He sold that product 20 years without competition, so he made a lot of money on it also. And only after the patent, the other colleagues in the same business were making it. But we made that stopwatch, which measures the 100th of a second, for 60 years, until technology came and said electronics is easier, right? And short time measurement basically is read digitally. Today, short time you want to read digital, whereas time of day analog is the standard because you feel analog time, you don't feel digital time. You see, on the watch, you have to think. It says it's 11:43. Oh yes, 17 minutes. So you have to think before whereas when you see the time, you feel it. You see, oh, it's nearly 20, it's about a little more than a quarter of an hour, that's enough. And therefore, the digital time, for short time measurement, the digital is the reading, and today, of course, the digital time measure has killed the mechanical stopwatch, right? So that's as simple as that, right? So we've lost that entire side of our business, but we're pursuing how to use it intelligently in some of the most accurate timing.